Hello everyone and welcome to InDesign. Let's start today with what InDesign is used for. InDesign brings everything together that you've been doing so far. Everything you create in Illustrator, everything you edit or create in Photoshop, you can bring into InDesign with text and create a publishable document, whether in print or digital. It's good for magazines, it's good for brochures, it's good for laying out any type of written document, all of your syllabi and documents that were laid out in InDesign. Let's start with the toolbox. So when you first open InDesign, this is what it looks like, a lot like Photoshop and Illustrator. They have similar look and feel to them. Let's create a new document for a test. And like Photoshop as well, you'll see the different default sizes that are used. You can choose print or web or mobile to create layouts for those specific devices. We're just going to start with a blank letter size file. If you want to go ahead and place a name in it to begin with, you can put that here. It will not save it, but this will keep it, so when you do save it, it'll automatically fill in that space. You can say how many pages you want. You can start with a page number. You can add what is called a bleed, which I'll move into and describe a little bit later on. You can also set your margins here. And if you want to have margins of different sizes, you will do the unlink icon to do each one separately. See, this will not affect the others, but if I link it, it will change all the measurements. We're going to leave it at a 1/2 inch for the default and press create. And there's your blank InDesign document. Let's start first with the toolbox. Again, just like you've seen in Adobe Photoshop and Illustrator, you have a selection tool and a direct selection like you did in Illustrator. You have a text tool. There's a pen tool, a line tool. They call it a rectangle frame tool and a rectangle tool. The difference being that one will automatically put a stroke around the box, the other one will not. You have your ink dropper tool to pull colors from images or things of that nature, so you can color text, you can color shapes, anything of that nature. You also have your fill and stroke like you did in Adobe Illustrator. I have to think there for a second. And you change the colors the same way you did in those as well. If you need to set preferences in InDesign, generally you're going to want your increments as far as your measurements. You don't want them to be set in pica. You want them to be in inches on both the horizontal and the vertical. You want to leave your stroke set in points. And that's really all you need to know about that. A lot of this is more specialized that if you move into the design field, you will learn more about this as you go along. But just for our uses here in this class, your increments are the only thing you would need to change. And I'm honestly not sure what the default is when you download it yourself, if it automatically goes to picas or inches, but inches is what you need for your horizontal and vertical measurements. And click OK to get out of that. Your control palette options up here. Again, they're like all the rest of them. They change with whatever tool you select. If you want to create text within InDesign, this is one thing that is different than it is in Adobe Photoshop and Illustrator. You have to actually draw your box with the text tool or with the frame tool. So I can do it that way with the text tool. It'll automatically put a cursor within there. Or by drawing a frame tool and then selecting the text tool, I can enter text within that frame. You can also create styles within InDesign, and what that means is, you know, when you're reading a book or a magazine, how you have a headline, you'll have subheaders, so you'll know which section you're in. They'll look different from the body text. The body text will be a smaller, more regular font, whereas your headlines may be in a bold font. They may be all caps. They may be italicized. Those are what you call styles. And the beauty of InDesign is that when you're creating, say, a large document like a book, and you want all the headers to be the same, you want all the chapter names to be the same font and style and size, you want the body text to be the same throughout, that you can create styles. And this is where you say you have character styles and paragraph styles. And when you create a new style, you can name it. So say it was a header. On these, you want to generally say no paragraph style on both of these, so it doesn't bring in something from another style previously, unless, of course, that's what you're looking for. You can pick your font. You can't preview it here. It's usually good to play around with it within the document before you select one. But for our purposes here today, I will select Calibri, and then I would say it's bold, 14, and maybe I'll do it all caps and say OK. Now, when I create a text box and I put headers, it is defaulted here to the header. We'll get more into that as we go along. You can also look at where your objects are located by looking the X and Y axis. That means this is your X and this is your Y. So it's located at 1.1 inches right here. You can see how it's moving around. And it's 1.48 on this axis here. Your rulers come up in default on InDesign. If you notice things disappear on you, if you hit the tab button accidentally, that will make things come back, but just hit it again and it'll come back. These are things you learn usually by mistake. And you can also look at your width and height. This is helpful when you're wanting, say you have 3 text boxes that you want to go side by side, but say you drew them separately and you want to match, you can verify. You can copy and paste your dimensions from each box. If you just want to create a box that's just for placeholder text, you can select either use the text tool or the frame tool to create a shape, and then you can go to type and fill with placeholder text, and it will fill in it with just gibberish basically so that you can see what it will look like in the document without having your text. This is helpful for you design majors if you are creating a document and you're waiting on editing to give you the text. This can help you go ahead and get the design laid out so that you're not scrambling at the end trying to get it done. Next video, we will move into type basics and giving you an idea of what is meant by type and why some people use the word font versus type. See you in the next one.